there for this woman from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who had probably one of the toughest decisions in her life to make. When she was a teenager, she too had a baby. But she told us that after a year's struggle, she gave up the fight. What were you going through?
It was hard, and I have to say something before I start.
Okay.
To the lady who made a comment about Alice and not loving her children, I don't doubt that that lady doesn't love her child, but she needs some help. I mean, she needs some help. Y'all, I mean, she does. She needs some help. And second of all, haven't y'all ever heard abstinence makes the heart grow fonder? I mean, you know, let's teach our children. We made a comment before. Let's teach our children before the issue.
Is that what you is that what you're bringing from your experience? You wish someone had talked to you?
If I would have known then what I know now, I would have never ever made that mistake.
Well,
it was hard for me, okay? I understand, Essie. I too had a drug problem when I was very, very young. I ran with the wrong crowds. You know, I had a man who told me I'm sterile. Please, ladies, do not ever believe a man if he tells you he's sterile, because it ain't true. Okay? And, I mean, I made a mistake, okay? I hid it from my mother till I was 7 months pregnant. She asked me if I was pregnant. She pulled me over to the side of the road one day and said, "Jana, are you pregnant?" And I just broke out and I said, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am." And let me tell you something. All my friends told me that my mother was going to kill me. Your mother's going to kill you. But I want y'all to know that my mother was my best friend. She was my best friend.
So, Jana, what happened that made you decide to, after 1 year, give up the fight and say, I've got to let my baby go?
Because I'm going to tell you, this is my schedule in the morning. I would wake up, and I wouldn't wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, okay? And I would get up, and I would take care of that child because that child came first. After I had that baby, it was no more Jana's first. It was that baby is first. That's what came first. I would take care of that baby. I would go to school. I would come home for 1 hour, get to study, go to work till 10 o'clock at night. I'd come home, my baby would be in bed. That is no life for a child. I mean, it's no life for a child.
Let's take a break, because when we come back, I want to know when that pivotal point was and what kind of discussion you had with your best friend, your mom, that would lead to your giving up your child. Also, when we return, are there women who just don't have the maternal instincts that it takes to raise a child? Anybody can have a child, but can they cope? We'll find out next. We'll talk about it. We've been talking to some very brave women today, women who are brave enough, courageous enough to admit that they are not sure that they can actually raise a child. It takes a lot of courage to do that. It really, really does. Jana, we were just listening to your story. I think, listen, that had to have been the hardest decision that you probably have ever made in your life, to give up your child because you just couldn't cope with motherhood.
Let me tell you, it was the hardest choice that I've ever had to make. And as a teenager, I didn't know if it was the right choice, but let me just tell you right now, I'm 26 years old, and right now I think that that's the most mature and unselfish thing that I have ever done for my child.
But Jana, when you made that decision, weren't there people who said, "Oh, I can't believe it, you gave up your kid at 1 year old?"
Yep.
How did you deal with that?
Well, actually, like I just told you, I told them that, you know, that it's the best thing for the child. You know, I'm not gonna have a child, you know, that I know can have a better future. And to me, I'm being unselfish. Yeah, exactly, and I'm being unselfish.
Okay. Yes.
Well, Jan, I commend you for what you did. Alice, you need to contact Children's Services in your area. They will help you. They will give you support.
I grew up with the system. They don't do nothing.
Well, you need to contact them. If you're going to plan on leaving your children, you need to contact them before the police come and arrest you.
I was talking to this group of women, and the lady there speaking, Nellie, is a social worker, and I asked them, I said, and I'm going to ask you guys, is this a common problem? Do you find that there are families, particularly mothers, who are having a tough time coping with motherhood? You are. So you advise them, Nellie, the same way that you just told us here?
Yes.
Social services. Young man, what do you say?
Rolonda,
Yes, Jana?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
What you just said about social services, can I tell you what they told my mother when I was pregnant? They would give me no kind of help, no kind of financial help. They told my mother if she put me out on the streets, I'd get a better chance of getting help.
I'm not talking welfare. I'm talking social services. I'm talking Division of Youth and Family Services, services that will help you with your family, not financial. I'm not talking financial services. I'm talking support services.
And there are support services out there. We're going to tell you about some. The Parents Anonymous is a group. Dr. Jean Cirillo is sitting right there. Jean, come on, jump into this conversation. When people, you are a psychotherapist, and when people need help, how common is this issue when people say, I'm not sure I can hang on to the children, I need to give them up, and what do they do before they get to that point?
She did a very unselfish thing, giving the child up, because you could have all the maternal instinct in the world, but you need training in being a parent, and you need to be emotionally ready and able.
Can anybody, I mean, well, I think it's true that not just everybody can be a mother, even though they can bear a child.
Maybe they can be a good mother, say, when they're 26, but not when they're 16. If you have a baby when you're 16, think about this. It's like being grounded for 18 years.
I can't tell.
You disagree with that? What do you say?
Listen, I had my first child when I was 17.
I can't tell.
This is one of my children right here. I have 4, and they all grown.
How did you deal with it? Did you ever get to a point?
Take the bitter with the sweet.
That's it. What do you say? Hey, Sus, this is for you.
I want to know if you live with your child,
Nah.
and do you have your parents' support?
Yeah, I got my parents' support. I don't live with her yet. I'm gonna get married with her as soon as she finishes school, and like to what she said, like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, all of that good stuff. Yo, she did it. She's still going to school. She's still going to school now, and you know what I'm saying.
I want to commend both these men. They are very good guys for being here.
You are very lucky ladies, for sure. Yes, Esther.
You know, it all sounds so easy. You know, just sitting back. And I respect it and everything. You know, but some nights, my grandbaby have me crying. You understand? I be crying. Sometimes I get so mad at her mama. You know, because if I got my life clean, this is not what I had planned for myself. I wanted to live. You know what I mean? And the minute I get her halfway out the way, here come another one.
Being
but you
a
know,
parent is the hardest job you'll ever love when you're ready for it.
That's right. But I'm not planning on, I'm like stuck with my first grandbaby, because like the first night I got here, I cried like a baby because it was my first time away from her like she was mine. You know, but what I'm planning to be there for Rohani.
Talk to her, Essie. Talk to her.
But it's only until she finished school. They both know that they have to finish school. That's the only way. I would never have nothing else to do with her if she dropped out of school.
Essie, turn to Rohani and tell her maybe some things that you have.
I just plan to, you know, really support her like I'm doing, the way that I'm doing my first grandma. Just enough time for her to go through school and jump out, you know, I mean, and finish so that she can do for herself. I have to give her that much, you know, because that one baby, I will not sit back and let it ruin the rest of her life.
What do you say?
Well, first of all, I'm a single parent now. I'm a college student. I practically graduated from college with my BS degree. And I had hell raising my 5 boys. I have 3 children that are classified with ADHD. That's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I have 3 children with lead poisoning. I have 1 child with sickle cell anemia, and I don't know if my child is going to live or die for the next day. And you talking about being hard? Yes, it's hard for me.
So how do you cope?
I get on my hands and knees and I pray to God.
Being hard and everything, and yes, it was hard, and it was the hardest decision, but I have to commend these kids that are in school, because to me, if you're mature enough to go out and have sex, and you're mature enough to go out and get pregnant, then you better be mature enough to stay in school and get an education.
That's right.
And you have to realize there's no such thing as totally safe sex. Only abstinence is safe.
Well, I think we're learning that more and more and more.